Guests today. When I start thinking about specifically the story of David, and it's coming on Prime Video, and this amazing series we have the executive producer and writers and directors, John Irwin and John Guns, join the show. John, thanks for stopping by. Excited to talk to you about the House of David. So I'm going to go to John Irwin first. How did this process begin? How did this project begin?
Oh man, David is a story that I've wanted to tell my entire career, all the way back to when I was a teenager with my first camera. I went to Israel with my dad, and we went to the old city of Jerusalem, and I went to King David's tomb, and I was just awestruck by the legend and legacy of this character. It's like 3,000 years later, we're still speaking his name and singing his psalms, and the phrase David and Goliath has become synonymous with the underdog and all that that represents. And so I've wanted to tell this story since. And so every film that we've made, has really been trying to earn the right to tell the story of David. So I'm so grateful to be able to do this as a global release with Prime. It's number 2 on Amazon on Prime Video right now, which is incredible. And I cannot wait for people to see the finale. And it really is a dream come true.
This question goes to John Gunn. You think about specifically enough these biblical stories that become so popular, and how real stories, real, not drama, but real life biblical stories, the Christian world, and how it's just, blowing up in the box office and everything. It's got to be an amazing time for you, John, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we keep saying that this has kind of become the year of the Bible, right? The Chosen is going to be playing in theaters as our show reaches its finale. And these are stories that have proven over the centuries, right, to stand the test of time. They're inspiring stories. Millions and millions of people. I mean, we joke all the time that our show is based on a bestseller, right? The Bible has sold a lot of copies. A lot of people have read that book for a reason. And
Yeah.
so it's an honor to tell this story. And I think, as John said, a lot of our work over many, many years has built to the moment where we've earned the right to do this at this scale with partners like Amazon Prime. So we're really, really thrilled and really honored to be working on this.
And the going back to John Irwin, I start thinking about it and say, it just keeps doing, because you're finally leaving watching something with inspiration. There's not a lot on television or movies today where you leave with a lesson, but also leave entertained and feel like you can go out and maybe in your regular life and go out and do something.
Yeah, I love to tell stories that leave you with a sense of all that you can be. And and I think that's why the legend and the true story of David is so famous, because it really is that original hero's journey. And I think that we all want to feel that we have a destiny to find and fulfill. And you can't help but think about that when you watch the series of what is my giant? What giant am I supposed to slay? What destiny am I supposed to find and fulfill? And that's a huge thematic part of the series itself. And I think that's why it's endured the test of time.
Well, John, question for John Gunn, or kind of joke question, but kind of delving into the giant part of it. I'm a legitimate 6'10", former professional wrestler, so they would always have me in pro wrestling and things like that to slay the giant. So it's a dream for anyone who's short, right? What the whole giant thing, right?
We know we should have cast you
You could have
as one
been
of the
Goliath's
brothers of
brother.
Goliath.
Oh my goodness. Well, maybe they'll be, who knows? But how tall is the giant that you have that you cast?
On our show,
Huh?
11 feet tall.
Oh, 11 feet tall. But what is okay? I got it.
But Martin Ford, who plays Goliath, 6'8" and 350 pounds. But you would have fit right in.
Yeah, man, we should have known.
Well,
We'll
you
bring
gotta so what you gotta do is, when there's other opportunities, you have another one to I'll do it. If there's other tall guys, you need another films, John and John.
They say that David took 5 stones to slay Goliath because Goliath had 4 brothers. And so, hey, there's room. There's more than one giant.
You
Anyway.
see, I'm honoring again St. Patrick's Day still with world's tallest leprechaun. So there you go. There you go, guys. So,
It's
and And the last question to John Irwin, what did you learn about that story of David more than you knew before by creating the series?
I just learned that there's great power into stepping into something that you're called to do, even if it scares you. I think we can all learn from that. And this idea that this boy, this outcast, you know, stepped into his destiny and slayed this giant. There's just a lesson for us, for all of us. And it's an entertaining story. It's a story that I love. It's epic in every way, but it really is deeply meaningful and emotional. And you can't help but think about your own life. I cannot wait for people to see the finale of the show that begins streaming tomorrow, the part one of part two, because that David and Goliath moment is truly epic, but it's also deeply meaningful and emotional. And you do begin to think about the life that you live. And I've never been as into and moved by the words of David, the Psalms of David that have just echoed through the centuries. And so my hope is that people will take that same journey.
So, just last question, John Gunn. You think about specifically enough all the giants that we have to slay every day, right? And this is going to give us that inspiring part. We have these challenges, we have
And I
these
really think that's an
difficulties.
excellent point, though. You've got this epic confrontation between this shepherd boy and a giant, and it just seems like so impossibly cinematic in its scope. But it really does represent the fact that we all have challenges that sometimes seem unsurmountable that we face in our lives. And so it's a great metaphor for that, obviously, and it's a great inspiration for that. Sometimes it just takes one stone and the courage to stand up and throw that stone.
All right. So, the best place again, Amazon Prime. Check it out. Check out the series, House of David. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for stopping by.